are now fighting to have the medical community confirm that Lyme disease can be transmitted from mother to unborn child. They say there's a possibility, a clear possibility, based on their personal experiences, and their goal is to have more women tested for Lyme during pregnancy. Jennifer Kravis and Sue Faber are co-founders of LymeHope, and they're our guests in studio this morning. Good to have you here.
It's great to be here.
Thanks for coming in on a cold day.
No worries.
Sue, I want to start with you. You're a registered nurse. You say your daughter, Andrea, showed symptoms of the disease, which is very hard to diagnose. Tell us what you saw and how you think she got it.
Well, I was diagnosed with Lyme disease here about 3 years ago, and after I was diagnosed, I started going into the peer-reviewed medical literature, and that's when I came across an article that was actually published by the federal government back in 1988, sharing that Lyme disease could be transmitted in utero. I started doing more research, and I came across different symptoms in children, and all 3 of my girls had been sick from birth, including Andrea. We ended up having all of them tested, and they were positive. I truly believe I transmitted this to them. In utero, we never pulled off a tick, never had an EM rash. Big concerns.
I want to get back to that published report in '88 from just a moment, but first, Jennifer, I want to bring you in. You say your family's also been affected. When did you first notice symptoms of Lyme in your kids?
I first noticed it in my kids about 7 years ago. I was working as an executive. I'm a lawyer by background, and about 10 years ago I became very suddenly disabled, actually bedridden, literally within weeks and months. And I spent 7 years with the diagnosis of chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia until I eventually was diagnosed properly with Lyme disease. That's when I had both my kids tested and discovered that they were both infected as well.
All right, so then let's jump ahead to this research that you found, a published report in 1988. Why is this not something that we hear more about now?
That's a really good question, and that's why we're doing what we're doing with LymeHope. In fact, we have heard from families all across Canada, the US, and globally who are also concerned about in utero transmission. And we've raised this topic, important topic, to the Standing Health Committee, Parliamentary Standing Health Committee. We actually gave a copy of a textbook, which I have here, which has a whole chapter on congenital Lyme disease and its manifestations. This is important information, and we've also been working with the Public Health Agency of Canada to raise our concerns.
Health officials with Health Canada recently published a scientific review. They said mother-to-baby transmission is biologically plausible, but that there's little scientific proof that this transmission is a risk to the child. That did not sit well with either of you. This research that you're working on now, I should first of all ask if there's pregnant moms at home right now who want to get tested. Can they?
They can get tested, and Lyme is a clinical diagnosis, so it's very important that their physician take a history based on their symptoms, their potential exposure to ticks, and even prior illnesses, so they can be properly screened.
And in this research that you found, and some of which that you've presented to government, what do you hope happens?
Well, our goal is that every Canadian will be able to walk into their physician's office and be promptly diagnosed, treated, and assessed. A recent paper shows that 90% of Canadians with Lyme disease are not being diagnosed currently.
And 90%?
90%, yeah. It was just published in November, a Canadian paper that looked at public health data.
The symptoms of Lyme disease are strong, so if they're not being diagnosed with Lyme disease, what are they being diagnosed with?
They can be diagnosed with many other conditions that mimic or overlap with Lyme, including multiple sclerosis, Alzheimer's, dementia, chronic fatigue syndrome, arthritis. The list is very long.
In this fight, in this ongoing fight, where do we sit right now?
Well, we're really excited because we're partnering with a researcher from Mount Allison University in New Brunswick, and she's going to be doing groundbreaking research, examining families, like a longitudinal family study, to take a closer look at in utero transmission using, incredible technology that's currently available.
Just advice as moms to other moms out there: if you think that your child may have Lyme disease contracted from a parent, what can you do?
I think the first thing is for Canadians to really educate themselves about the disease. There's lots of good sources of information. Our website is lymehope.ca. There's a lot of information on there and links to other good sources of information.
Great information to have, something I hadn't heard about before. Thank you both for being on Your Morning to talk about it.
Thank you, Anne-Marie.
All right, and again, if you'd like more information, we will have a link to LymeHope on our website, yourmorning.ca. Here's Priya. She has a quick news update for us.